Late model Sportsman qualifying action makes its way to the Speedway. 10 automobiles on the Speedway. Now, slightly different format. The same strategic format as last week to qualify, but with extra cars in attendance, we'll add a few more, and I'll explain how we're going to qualify our field as qualifiers go on here. About 40 late models in attendance to try to qualify for a 100-lap main event on the final Saturday show here at Airborne. 99 of Roy French takes the lead over the 64, Robin Branham. The 52 of Barry Schwartz is third. Leading rookie Steve Rennet over the 76 moves into fourth. The rest of the field, the 08 of Minsky Mitten, the 25 of Dave Wickham, 34 of Dennis Alderman, 79 of Jim Mason, 40 of points later Dwayne Lamphere, the 1 of Red Mead, and the 13 of Bootsy, and Bootsy already retiring from the event. Action coming out of 4, Roy French with the green and yellow 99 leads into the stripe of Barry Schwartz, tucked to the right side. Schwartz hits the minors, backs off, gets back into it. Schwartz has the inside line, pushes French out of the way to take the lead, and Rennet follows him through to take second. But French not ready to give up on the high group, drifts high, and that allows Robin Branham to tuck on him, and Roy French is going backwards in a hurry. 3 qualifiers tonight, 8 cars to qualify. We run 2 consies, 3 qualified, then a B feature, and the winner qualifies. That would allow 33 to start the 100-lap main event. Barry Schwartz, your leader, with 4 down. Looking at action at the back of the pack, the 34 of Alderman and the 79 of Mason. Mason in a brand new number 79, but not doing a whole lot. Meanwhile, up front, change of position for the lead. Steve Rennet, who picked up his first late model Sportsman win here a couple of weeks ago, takes the lead at the halfway mark, but his rear mirror is full of Dave Wickham. Wickham's number 25 jogging the leader, Rennet. Barry Schwartz runs third, followed by Robin Branham, Dwayne Lamphere, Roy French, Red Mead, and Minsky Min, who sits on the bubble. Coming out of 4, it is still Rennet leading the pack. Looking back a little bit here, it's Roy French Jr., who had the lead for a few laps, is going back in a hurry, still in a qualifying position. Taking a peek at the leaders. This time out of 4, they'll be greeted with 2 to go. It is still Steve Rennet leading Dave Wickham. Here in the battle for third, the 52 of Schwartz and the 40 of Dwayne Lamphere. In the point standings going into tonight, Dwayne Lamphere leads the 00 of Steve Miller by a mere 14 points. Miller could leave the track with the points lead. Trouble up in 4, but Robin Branham straightens it out in the 64. Half a lap to go for the leading rookie in this division, Steve Rennet. Wickham backing off as they'll both qualify. Rennet picks up the victory. Wickham will be second. Barry Schwartz edges Dwayne Lamphere for third. Lamphere goes to fourth. Red Mead will be fifth. Robin Branham sixth. Minsky Min seventh. And Roy French the final transfer position. Your top 5 once again: Rennet, Wickham, Schwartz, Dwayne Lamphere, and Red Mead.
Number 33.
Second qualifier for the LMS series on the Speedway. You know, checking my mathematics, I told you 33 cars to qualify. I was given the qualifying format that the ACT gave me. 8 to qualify out of 3 heats, that's 24. 3 to qualify out of 2 contests, make 30. 1 in the last chance race, that's only 31. We'll have to check on that, fans. 11 automobiles on the Speedway. Remember, apparently 8 to qualify. Fred Lagoya, Bill Fowl will lead him to the stripe. That's as close. They run side by side. Bowden gets the lead early on the Lagoya machine. 57 of Jim Barton follows Fowl on the outside. Joe Chavez with a red and white 66 coming through. Still bunched up pretty good. Bill Fowl will lead the first lap. Now followed by Barton, Thomas, Lagoya, Tony Poisson, Matt Sear, Doug Hoare, Steve Miller, Brent Dragon, Glenn Wright, and Jacques Kershane. 3 wide action coming out of 4. They're going to make it work this time around. It is Steve Miller who was the man going 3 wide. Now tucks it in behind the Tony Poisson 42. Meanwhile, the front of the pack, Jim Barton powers by Wild Bill to take the lead. Fountain now running second with Joe Thomas third. Doug Horace moved up to fourth. I'll tell you, fans, the car making a move is the 00 of Steve Miller, however. Steve Miller is weaving inside, weaving outside, and picking off cars like they were standing still. Coming out of turn 4, the battle for second. Wild Bill Fountain, Joe Thomas, a couple of local regulars. They are door handler. They come out of 2, both chasing the lead of the 57 machine, piloted by Jim Barton. Thomas takes second, knocking Bill back to third. Doug Hoare goes on the outside. And right behind that group, Steve Miller and Brent Dragg as they all get the halfway sign that time by. Trouble on Bill Fountain. Sparks erupt from the car. He gets it straightened out. Looks like something broke in the 91 machine. However, the car still seems to be on power. Bill Fountain definitely has slowed up, however. Can he hold on to finish in the top 8? We'll have to wait and see. Realigning the field real quickly. It is Barton, Thomas, Doug Hoare, Miller, Bill Fountain, Brent Dragon, Matt Sear, and the battle for the 8th and final qualified position between Fred Lagoy and Tony Poisson. Best battle on the speedway may be the battle for third, the 00 of Miller and the 46 of Doug Hoare. 2 laps to go that time. Miller takes third from Doug Hoare, then tucks inside. Steve Miller definitely has some power under the hood of that 00 tonight, fans. With 100 laps of action facing these guys for a main event. Well, who knows? Remember, Miller looked like he would win the first 100 lapper here at Airborne this year, only to get black flagged for having an exhaust pipe hang loose. Fred Lagoy does the do-si-do to the infield as Jim Barton comes out of turn 4 to be greeted with a checker flag. Barton wins the second qualifier. He's followed by Thomas, Miller, Doug Hoare, Dragon, Wild Bill, Matt Sear, and Tony Poisson to round out the 8 that will automatically transfer into tonight's 100-lap main event.
On the outside, number 75, Peter Fesco.
13 machines on the speedway for the 3rd and final qualifier. Starting out on the pole, the 17 of Lonnie Lackalay. He looks over his right shoulder, reverse the numbers, the 71 of Lester Armel Jr. Row 2, Tim Patinka and Pete Fecto. In row 3, Mark Lamphere on the inside, Bucko on the outside, then Dennis Demers, Dan Bridges. Last week's winner, Jean-Paul Cyr, Brian Hoare, David Gay, Chris Durkin. Well, the 46 car, which cannot possibly be Doug Hoare. He just was in the second qualifier. We'll have to wait and see what's going on there. Anyway, up front, Lonnie Lackalay gets the early lead, but Tim Patinka is right on his back bumper. Tim Patinka, a guy who he's had some tough breaks this year, was not in attendance last week to compete, but is back this week and looks strong early on. Trouble, Patinka gets to the back end of Lackalay. Lackalay goes spinning. Everyone tries to avoid him and does so very nicely. Now Pete Fecto loses it. Dave Gay crushes the front end. A yellow flag on the speedway, the first yellow of the evening. And in case you're wondering, fans, about one absent automobile that's been here each and every week, Jim Silly was in attendance, lost the motor in practice, is already on his way back to Vermont. One lap in the books, plenty of laps for someone in the back of the pack to work his way up to the front. The 2 guys starting up front, the 49 of Mark Lamphere, the 71 of Lester Armel Jr. Do want to make a driver change. That number 50 machine, which I was informed with David Gay. Sorry, fans, it is indeed Stormin Norman piloting the 50. Norman got a piece of Fecto last time and has not returned for the restart, unfortunately. And Mark Lamphere gets out to the early lead. Dennis Demers sits second. Last week's winner, Jean-Paul Cyr, tries to thread the needle Bucko Branham and Lester Armel both get tagged. Bucko spins it around. He's facing the wrong way in a one-way street. No caution yet. Bucko refires. He's going to turn it around and continue on. Action up front. Hey, this is good, fans. Mark Lampert leading, but hang on to Dennis Demers. Dirt tracks it through turn 4 and gets the lead. Pack of cars here, remember, 8 qualifying. It is now Demers leading Mark Lampert. Jean-Paul Cyr. Jean-Paul still ecstatic over winning last week. That was his first win with the Tour, so needless to say, it is something he should be very proud of. Jean-Paul used to run with his CBRA down in Malta and Devil's Bowl, so he's been on both dirt and asphalt and has won on both. Halfway this time by, Dennis Demers leads Mark Lampert by about 5 car lengths coming out of turn 4. Jean-Paul Cyr trying to catch the Lampert machine. Danny Bridges runs 4th. There's the Lester Armel 71, which runs 5th. Brian Hoare 6th. Pete Fecto 7th, and Lonnie Lacklade on the bubble. During the last caution, went in to check, hey, who was driving the 46, the backup car for Doug Hoare? It was not listed in the official lineup, man, so I'm wondering now, speculation, but perhaps Jim Silly stayed in attendance and was driving that car. I'll have to wait because I have not been informed who was driving that automobile yet. Would not surprise me if Silly took the ride, however. Silly pits next to Doug and Brian Hoare, and they are not, as far as I know, any sort of enemies. They're rather good friends. Action for the pit spot. Armel with a white 71, Brian Hoare with a red 45. Brian Hoare gets to the inside, but Armel shuts the door. 2 to go this time by for Demers. So Dennis looks like he's going to pocket a qualifying victory. Still great action here for the pit spot. Brian Hoare on the high side of Armel this time. Lester Armel really making the 71 stick, but that was a situation where horsepower took over. Brian Hoare took the spot. Take a look at the 3 cars battling for second. The 49 of Mark Lampert, the 32 Jean-Paul Cyr, and Danny Bridges. The last couple of weeks, Monty Lemaire drove Mark's 49, but with the big race on tap tonight, Mark decided to pilot his own machine. Checker flag is flying for Dennis Demers. Mark Lampert edges out Jean-Paul Cyr in the battle for second and third. Danny Bridges 4th, Brian Hoare 5th, Lester Armel 6th, Pete Fecto 7th, and Tim Patinka works his way back up to finish 8th and will indeed qualify for the main event.
Number 1 for the Tigers. Inside of row number 1, number 94.
Flying Tiger Heat number 1 on the speedway. 10 automobiles ready to power their way to try to get to the front. On the front row, the 94, Brian Lockerbie alongside the 79 of Ernie Holmes. Jim McComb and Lee Morrison make up row 2. Kevin Sorrell, Brad Duquette occupy row 3. Al Madden, Scott Foster in row 4. Mike Richardson and Jeff Plunkett round out the 10-car field. Green flag is out. Tight bunch as they hit the stripe. 4 or 5 cars get squirrely going into one, but they all make it work, and that's what we like seeing. Ernie Holmes trying to get by pole setter Lockerbie. Lockerbie with the preferred inside groove says, no way. Lockerbie gets loose, pushes Holmes up high, and that opens the door to the inside for the 31 of Jim McComb. But Lockerbie quickly shut that door he opened up. Lockerbie, your leader. Ernie Holmes once again mounts a challenge to the outside. Jim McComb is trapped behind the race leader with no place to go. Well, now he tries to get to the inside again. Gives a tap, trouble! Lockerbie gets loose, straightened up, and they all keep it straight. 3 wide action. Lockerbie loses the back end. Luckily, keeps the car on the inside groove. Could have drifted up into traffic. That could have been potentially hazardous as he got loose in turn 4, straightened up, and then lost it in turn 1. Lockerbie pits his 94, so that makes Ernie Holmes your leader with McComb second, Duquette third, Morrison running 4th, and Mike Richardson now rounding out the top 5. Tell you what, fans, my money right now might be on the 18 of Brad Duquette. Duquette had definitely been getting stronger. The 2 cars in front of him, although they're not necessarily the easiest prey out there on the track, Duquette may be able to work them over as they have just been given the halfway sign. So Brad has 4 laps to work it on him. Duquette pulls to the outside of McComb and now tries a double maneuver to take Holmes in the same turn. He has second, but can he hold it on the outside groove? 3-wide action behind him. Duquette leads McComb across the frame in the second spot. 3-wide action going into West. Scott Foster ducks down, gets tapped by Richardson, which straightens him out. And up front, Brad Duquette gets the job done. Brad Duquette takes over the lead over Ernie Holmes. Jim McComb back to third. Lee Morrison runs fourth. And Al Mann holds down the fifth spot. Awful high out of the turn. Ernie Holmes going in no man's land. Holmes is losing the backhand. Definite troubles on the 79. He just cannot control that automobile. Some has given way. Two-lap or scratch out, white flag this time out for Brad Duquette. Jim McComb, the only challenger. Matt has moved up to third, but taking a peek at the 49 at Kevin Sorrell. Sorrell not quite able to move his way up into the cars in front of him. But keep an eye on Kevin. Low budget operation, but 110% given by that young driver. Lap traffic hopefully will stay to the inside, and indeed Plunkett does it. Brad Duquette picks up the win in the first heat, followed by Jim McComb, Al Madden, Lee Morrison, and Mike Richardson. Well, what can you say, fans? It looked at a couple of occasions we were going to have a pileup, but hey, these guys kept their head about them, got the job done. Some super driving on a few of these guys' parts. It was Duquette picking up the win over McComb, Madden, Morrison, and Richardson. Qualifier heat number 2 for the Flying Tigers on the Speedway. 11 cars make their way out for the call-in. It is truly pick'em time. Jason Leo, Ron Klein in the top row. George White, Dave Foster in row 2. Eldred Hutchins and Randy Yance make up row 3. Chet DeVarney Jr., Robin Wood in row 4. Eric Williams, Mark Laberton in the 5th row. And Ron Weston all alone shotgun. The cars to watch, Wood, Lamberton, and Weston. In this division, a 50-point lead for Ron Weston over the 61 of Robin Wood. And Mark Lamberton is catching him, but boy, races are running out for Mark. Meanwhile, up front, Jason Wheels and Jay Foster and Rock and Ron Klein. This is really a tough field, fans, as you've got some heavy hitters. Up front, Jason Leo tries to shut the door on Dave Foster, but Mopar Power, the number 12, gets alongside to the inside groove. Foster takes the lead out of 4. Leo back to second. Yance runs third with Rock and Ron on his right side running fourth. Robin Wood 5th. Mark Lambert in 6th. Where is Ron Weston? Stuck in the high groove, dead last. Mark Lamberton showing what he's made of. Dives to the inside of Klein. And Mark takes the 2-for-1 coming out of 4 to quickly move into the 4th spot. Now Robin Wood gets to the outside of Rock and Ron. Ron Klein trying to find a groove that'll work. The car seems to fall back right now, but Ron Klein, there's one guy here who has a tendency to try to use equipment that doesn't always last the entire race. It is Ron. He usually can get something done when the car starts to go away on him. It is Foster leading the way over Leo. Good battle for third at the inside the 34 of Yance to the outside the 29 of Lamberton. Robin Wood sits 5th, and again, Ron Weston is back in the pack. 3-wide action out of turn 4. Hang on, fans. Jason Leo cuts down on Mark Lamberton to bump him out of the way. Robin Wood gives Randy Yance a shot. Now Lamberton dives to the inside of Leo. Leo caught by surprise, caught asleep, if you will, as Lamberton takes the second spot. And Jason Leo must be wondering, where did the 29 come from? 2 laps ago, can Mark Lamberton make up the 10 lengths? He is behind the 12 of Dave Foster. It'll be 1 lap this time by. It's going to be tough for Lamberton to get past the number 12. It looks like Foster will have this one in his back pocket. Leo runs 3rd, Yance 4th, Robin Wood up to 5th. Ron Weston right now is running 9th in an 11-car field. He may not hold that position, so Ron Weston is certainly not on the mark this qualifier. Lamberton caught up some of the distance, but he needed some more laps. And Dave Foster picks up the checker flag on it. Lambert in 2nd. Jason Leo third, Randy Yance fourth. Robin Wood rounds out the top 5, and Ron Weston finishes 9th.
Officially in 10th spot from Plattsburgh, number 61.
Napa Legends Street Stock time here at Airborne on the final Saturday night program. Bob Bailey gets the pole spot with Sparky LePan to his right side. Charles McNulty on the inside of row 2. Can't quite make out the car numbers. They were in too tight a bunch coming out of 4. I apologize for that. Bumping up at 1. Sparky loses the backhand, gathers it back up and loses it again and gathers it in again. Well, I guess he's had his fill of excitement for the night. That gives the lead to Bob Bailey, and Bob gets a nice 3-4 car length lead and shows signs of smoke. Bob, you got the lead, buddy. Oh my. Bob Bailey is forced to pit the car as he's leading. You know, before the races, we were talking about Bailey. We said, just keep all 4 tires on the ground. Bob, we didn't mean to jinx you, buddy. Well, this truly does get kind of hectic here. Your leader is the 72 of Robert Haynes. Forget the 31 fans. He has been given a black flag for jumping the start. He was clearly trying to maneuver that he probably should not have been. Your leader is the black and green number 72 of Robert Haynes. No, both cars are painted the same, but Robert Haynes, the 72, is your leader. Mark Eddy runs second, Ed Drake third, Mark Russo fourth, Sparky LePan fifth, Chris Ida runs sixth, and Charles McNulty, who looped it last lap around, just gets it straightened around and is sporting half a lap to the rest of the field. Coming out of 4, Robert Haynes, your leader. Mark Eddy runs second. If you were here last week, fans, you saw Mike Boucher win the feature for this division. Steve Benoit, well, trouble up in 1. Sparky LePan gets tagged by Ed Drake. Sparky does a 360, continues on. Picking up what I was saying last week. You saw Mike Boucher lead Steve Benoit and Mark Eddy across the stripe, but in the tech area, an oversized engine was found on the 14, so he was DQ'd. That made the official finish. Boucher, your winner. The 71 of Mike Eddy second, and Joe Rotello, who started the back of the pack, got credit for the 3rd spot. Speaking of Mark Eddy, he ducks to the inside of the leader. Mark Eddy in the 71, Robert Haynes in the 72. Eddy takes the lead with 2 to go. This field certainly has spread itself out, and I don't know where Robert Haynes is going, but it's certainly not where the rest of the guys are going. Trouble up in 1. Again, Ed Drake and Sparky LePan playing bumper tag. These 2 guys apparently have some kind of a score to settle, but they're all alone on the speedway, so no one else should get involved. White flag falls to the 71 of Mark Eddy. And, well, wouldn't you know it, fans? Ed Drake in the 69, Sparky LePan in the 75, finally have put each other off of turn 3. The 2 guys on 3 or 4 occasions were bumper tagging like crazy, and they finally decided to put an end to it. Checker yellow flies on the speedway for Mark Eddy. Mark Eddy in the 71 wins it. Mark Russo's number 2 up for second. Robert Haynes will be third. Chris Ida will be accredited with 4th. Second heat for the street stocks on the speedway. Paul Schnabel, Rob Clark Jr. in row 1. Joe Rotello, Toby Ebersol, row 2. Don Moran, Mike Boucher in row 3. Greg Paye, Dave Rotello, row 4. Tyson Drown, Dan Benoit round out the field. Remember, in the point standings, and they're both rookies, Dave Rotello leads Tyson Drown by 3 points. Off and running they are. Paul Schnabel tries to keep the 95 in front, but Rob Clark Jr. has other thoughts in mind, and the car making the move is indeed Dave Rotello. Rotello doing the slip screen, catches Tyson Drown and knocks him back a couple of positions, so Dave Rotello is a man with a mission. Spoke with Dave in the pits earlier, and he's well aware Tyson's 3 points behind him. Trouble up in 1. Dan Benoit and Greg Paye come together. Paye does a severe spin around and gets it refired. No caution on the speedway. Both cars able to continue. Clark, still your leader over Schnabel, Iversol, Joe Rotella, Dave Rotella, Tyson Drown, Don Moretta, Mike Boucher. Black flag flies once again, this time for the purple 74 of Dan Benoit. Officials say you were the cause of that, Dan. Sit this one out, buddy. Cars coming out of fourth, side-by-side action. Joe Rotella with his brother tucked behind him, working the 82 of Toby Eversol. David bumps his brother out of the way. They'll have a little discussion about that in the pits. And in doing so, Joe bumps Toby up high. And the guy who benefits is Mike Boucher, and that's been the hottest car in this division. It is still Clark and Schnabel running 1-2. Dave Rotella sits third. Mike Boucher worked up to fourth with Tyson Drown running fifth. And of course, Tyson is really keeping a close eye on that 53. As long as David keeps Tyson behind him all night, he can't lose the points lead. Many of the cars, maybe not in this division as much, unless they're hailed from Vermont, are we going to be packing up tonight, making their way over to Thunder Road for tomorrow's Milk Ball. You've never been to the Milk Ball. I hope you made the 92 version, because I'm sure it was something to be seen. Milk Ball always exciting. 2 laps to go that time by, and Rock Clock Junior sports about a 12-car length lead over Schnabel and Mike Boucher. Boucher all over the back end of Paul Schnabel's 95. Remember, this is the final Saturday night here at Airborne. One more race on the schedule, the Fall Foliage 300, September 26th and 27th, as the white flag flies for Clark. All you fans who have your J&J rain-out discount ticket for the International Series event, show up the 26th, you'll be admitted free of charge, but on Saturday and Saturday only. Change of position for the second spot, Boucher to the inside of Schnabel to take the number 2 position. And right behind them, Dave Rotella, Tyson Drown bumping bumpers. Rob Clark Jr. wins it with Boucher second, Schnabel third. Dave Rotella holds off Tyson Drown in the battle for 4th and 5th. Once again, your top 5. It is Rob Clark Jr. followed by Mike Boucher, Paul Schnabel, Dave Rotella, and Tyson Drown. First of 2 conceits make their way in the speedway. 9 automobiles answer the call. We have figured out the mystery of the mathematics. We were given slightly incorrect information. Instead of the top 3 qualifying, the top 4 qualify out of each conceit. That indeed will allow a 33-car starting field. Jim Mason in the 79, Lonnie Lackman in the 17, set them on their way. Other cars in the field, the 48 of Glenn Wright, the 50 of Storm and Norman Gay, 96 of Fred Lagoy, the 10 of Ricky LaCure, that 46, I'm not going to say Doug Hoare because I don't know who's driving it, fans. The 29 of Brett Wheeler and the 70 of George Egan. Good action up front. Lonnie Lackman takes the lead from the 79 of Jim Mason. Smoker into 1, that's George Egan with the number 70. He lays down a smoke screen. Remember, the top 4 qualifying fans, looks like Ricky LaCure is definitely going to try to do that as he is storming through the pack. Right now challenging the 96 in front Lagoy for that 4th and final transfer position. Heavy duty smoke out of George Egan's car. Cannot see any fluid on the track, however. Just watch the cars and see if they get loose. That'll tell us. It is still Lackley and Mason running 1-2. Good battle for 3rd. Ricky LaCure ducked to the outside of the 48 of Glenn Wright. Ricky LaCure loses traction, has to realign himself, and now once again takes a shot for 3rd and takes the position. Up front, it is Lonnie Lackley still, however, leading the way. A couple of surprises here, running in the back of the pack, the 50 of Storm Norman Gay, and the 29 of Brett Wheeler. Wheeler, though not a regular competitor here, is certainly a guy who would normally qualify through a heat. Halfway this time by for Lonnie Lackley. Mason runs 2nd, Ricky LaCure 3rd. The number 4 automobile runs, well, right now 5th as he challenges Glenn Wright for the 4th spot. Remember, as I said earlier, the number 4 car, the Doug Hoare backup car, has no listed driver. It was not even listed in a qualifier. I still have no idea who is driving that automobile. I have not heard yet. Lonnie Lackland looks like he's going to run away in height from this field. Taking a peek at guys who have not qualified yet as they come out turn 4. So right there, Brett Wheeler with that white number 29, really surprised. Obviously the car not handling well. Good battle for second. Ricky LaCure looks outside, dives to the inside on the Jim Mason 79. Can't make it work there as they're giving 2 laps to go. Ricky trying to crowd the Mason 79 low. Mason trying to push the Ricky LaCure 10 high. When it's all said and done, Ricky takes the second spot. Last lap for Lonnie Lackland as he has a straightaway lead over Ricky LaCure and Jim Mason. The 4 runs 4th. That's a final transfer position. And it does not appear that Glenn Wright, Fred LaGoyer, Storm, and Norman will catch the number 4. Checker flag flies for young Lonnie Lackland. He is qualified for the feature, has had Ricky LaCure in the 10, Jim Mason in the 79, and the mystery driver in the 4. But hang on, fans, I will determine to find out who is in that car.
Number 1 is all finished up and coming around with a very good one.
Consi number 2 of the Speedway. 8 cars make the call. 4 will qualify and 4 will be in the last chance qualifier. Jacques Courchain, Dennis Alderman in row 1, Chris Durkee, Bucko Branham in row 3, Kevin Kezar, Richard Bucci in row 3. Lance Furno and Gary Caron in the 22 round out the field. Trouble up in 2. Bucko gets stabbed by Jacques Courchain, but they both straighten it out. Remember, last week using this format, Richard Bucci and Doug Hoare unable to make the main event. Doug is qualified. Richard Bucci attempted to do so in this very Consi right here. It is Dennis Alderman leading the way. Jacques Courchain runs second. Bucko Branham to his right side, powering by. Bucko disposes of the 99, now works over the leader, Dennis Alderman in the 34. Meanwhile, Kevin Kezar has worked underneath. Trouble, and Jacques Courchain bumped Bucko. That's the second time Bucko's got tapped by the 99, and knowing Bucko, he doesn't take that to heart very nicely. Sandwich time. Bucko Branham trying to work his way back up into a qualifying position. Meanwhile, Kevin Kezar with the beautifully prepared number 21 sneaks by the inside. Alderman leads it. Courchain runs second. Branham again going to the outside of the 99 machine. He's got to be a little skeptical. Quickly powers by Jacques to take the second spot. Chris Durkee trying to follow through, but the action up front. Bucko Branham sets his sights on the 34 of Alderman. And as it stands now, Bucci has not qualified. You got to wonder, Richard must be saying, I don't like this new format. Bucko Branham looks to the inside of Alderman, tries to open the door, contact, and again, Jacques Courchain bumps Bucko Branham. Bucko spinning near the Bill McBride pace car and basically spinning out of a qualifying position. Now Richard Bucci has indeed powered into a qualifying position. Durkee leads Alderman. Bucci gets tapped, but he runs third. Gary Carr runs fourth, and Bucko Branham rejoins the field right in front of the leaders, but again, he's going to lap down as 92 passes him. Bucko getting the back end loose, trouble! Lance Furno climbing all over Alderman, puts the car skyward and luckily brings it down. Caution on the speedway. Lance Furno was skyrocketing the 31 when Alderman came in his groove. It all started with Bucko rejoining the field to the front of the pack, getting loose, contact made. When Alderman tried to avoid the 63, Lance Furno climbed all over the back end. We'll take a break and line them up and try it again. 6 laps in the record book. 5 cars remaining, only 4 will qualify, so someone's going to have to sit this out. Durkee Bucci in the front row, Karen Korchesny in the second row, Furno all alone in row 3. Richard Bootsy gets the jump on the 92 machine of Durkee, but Durkee powers by using the inside groove, but Bootsy gets back into it to take the lead. It is Bootsy, Durkee, Karen, Furno, and the man who is out of it right now, Jacques Couchane. '63 of Buck O'Brien with that last caution, given the black flag for some questionable tactics, apparently. Remember, Ford will qualify. Apparently, it's going to be Bootsy, Durkee, Karen, and Furno as Jacques Couchane has lost contact with the field. 2 to go. Of course, whenever you're in one of these cars, even if you're in a qualified position, it's a matter of pride. You always want to finish in front of the guy that's in front of you. Right now, no one is in front of the number 13 of Bootsy. Battle for second, side-by-side action. Durkee in the 92, Karen in the 22, and Les Furno in the 31 with absolutely no place to go. Oh, Furno loses the back end, and Jacques Couchane does the same. Jacques Couchane had the qualifying position in the bag as Furno spun out in front of him. Who is going to fire as the checker comes out? Bootsy, Durkee, and Karen qualify. And now Jacques Couchane must make his way around to take the 4th spot. Poor Lance Furno had qualified and lost it by looping it in turn 1. What an interesting ending, to say the least. Your 4 qualifiers once again, Bootsy, Durkee, Karen, and Couchane. Semi-time for the Tigers. Your 12-car field in order. McComb Morrison in row 1. Duquette, Madden in row 2, Scott Foster. The inside of row 3, and again, the way the cars are lined up, very difficult to see. It is, I believe, Randy Yance, no, Mike Richardson outside row 3, Jason Leo, Dave Foster, Eldred Hutchins, Randy Yance, Robin Wood, and Mark Lambert round out the 12-car field. Of course, absent is points leader Ron Weston. Every position Wood can make up on Weston is that much more. He digs into the 50-point lead Weston has on Wood's number 61. 4 wide going into 3. They straighten him out. Lee Morrison is off of power here as he had dropped back considerably. Lee Morrison going to the back of the pack, obviously mechanical problem. Meanwhile, the front of the pack, the 31 of McComb leads the 18 of Duke and the 45 of Scott Foster. Both Fosters in this field. Jason Leo sits 4th with the 8. Watch for the number 8. Boy, he can make things happen in a hurry. Speaking of the other Foster, Dave Foster in the 12, the Mopar Power 12 hanging high. Not the place to be. Al Madden and Mark Lambert in that time by had a bit of a tap. Up front, Duquette tries a high groove on McComb. He's going to lose some position because of it. Scott Foster ducks low. We're going to have 3 wide action into turn 1. Hold your breath. It's Brad Duquette who's going to be the guy who gets hurt on it. He goes way out of it. Now action in the middle. Jason Leo tries to thread the needle. They close the gap on him. Leo tries again and Hutchins tags him. Leo into the 31 of McComb. They both go spinning in 4. Caution on the speedway, mainly because up in turn 2, Brad Duquette has not refired the 18. With 3 in the books, we'll line them up and try it again. With 3 laps down in the Flying Tigers semi-feature, the field is realigned and they are ready to try it again. Scott Foster and Mike Richardson make up row 1 with Robin Wood and Eldred Hutchins right behind them in row 2. You can bet Ron Weston is watching this from the pits real close. Green flag is out. Mike Richardson gets ahead of Scott Foster to take the lead. Foster trying to power back. Foster's not going to give up the position, but finally has to. But can Richardson tuck down in front of him? That is the question. Mark Lamberton gets shoved high by Eldred Hutchins, but brings it back down. And now Robin Wood in the 61 is trapped behind the 45 as Mark Lamberton gets by him on the outside. Robin Wood's got to try 3 wide. That's just what he's trying. He comes in contact with Foster. Scott Foster comes down. Mark Lamberton hits the brakes to avoid Foster. But Foster corrects the problem. There will be no caution. Mark Lamberton got hurt in the big wings. He had to hit the binders to avoid the 45. And with no caution, he loses all the track position. And that means Robin Wood has taken over the lead. Robin Wood, your leader, and Rob Weston is saying, no, you gotta be kidding me. Wood leads it, Richardson second, and Randy Hansen moves to third, with Hutchins and Jay Foster rounding out the top 5. Tough break for Scott Foster. He was in line for a terrific finish. Now off of camera, up in turn 2, Jim McComb does the do-si-do to the 8 of Jason Leo, sends Leo spinning. Jason Leo has had an awful tough semi-feature, fans. Boy, Mark Lambert really let that 29 hang high. He had just dirt tracking it on the high groove. Now tucks low inside the 12 of Jay Foster to take a position. But that's only going to move him up to the 5th spot. 2 to go this time by for race leader Robin Wood. Yance runs second, Richardson third. 3-car battle for 4th between Hutchins, Dave Foster, and Mark Lamberton. Robin Wood about to put fellow New York driver Brad Duquette a lap down as they come out of 4. Duquette fighting back. White flag flies, however. Mark Lamberton battling the 66 of Richardson for the 3rd spot. And with Brad Duquette coming in between them, the leaders are going to try to split them. Yes to the inside. Robin Wood outside. Yes has a shot. Wood is pushed high but tries to cut the corner down. They come out of 4. Hang on, fans. Give it by about a length of a car hood to Robin Wood. Robin Wood wins an exciting one over the 34 Randy Yans. With Mark Lambert in 3rd, Mike Richardson 4th, and Eldred Hutchins hanging on to the 5th spot. It was close, but when it was all said and done, Robin Wood gets the job done to win the semi. Last chance qualifier for late model Sportsman. Only the winner advances to the late model 100 lap main event. Glenn Wright, Lance Furno in the 1st row, Fred Lagoy, Stormin Norman Gay in the 2nd row, Bucko Branham, Brett Wheeler in the 3rd row, George Egan and Dennis Holloman round out the field. One late scratch of 21 and Kevin Keysar, tough break. I thought Keysar broke. He did indeed, unable to make the last chance qualifier. Lance Furno jumps out to a lead in a hurry. If Brett Wheeler had gotten that 29 fixed, Furno will not be able to hold him off. Brett Wheeler, though not a regular competitor here, can get the job done. Brett has also spent a race or 2 in the American Canadian Tour last year. Bucko Branham gets to the outside. Glenn Wright as he takes 3rd, but Bucko may need a caution to get up to the leaders, as the 1st and 2nd place cars are about 20 car lengths in front of Bucko right now. 15 laps of scheduled distance for anyone wondering, since it is not a regular event. Lance Furno still holding off the white and red numbered 29 of Brett Wheeler. Bucko runs 3rd, but remember, if you finish 2nd, you might as well load it up. You won't be in the 100 lap main event. Only the winner continues. Or I should say black flag for George Egan, number 70. It's the smoking problem that he laid down before, and it comes back to haunt him. Well, Lance Furno has had something go wrong as he pits, and he's pitting himself right out of the 100-lap race. That gives Brett Wheeler the lead, and Bucko Branham must get by him if he wants to continue racing tonight. Remember, Brett Wheeler's car was certainly nowhere near 100% earlier. Apparently the crew has fixed the 29, but Bucko Branham, a man with a mission after getting dumped in the Consi, he definitely has something to say, would love to make it into the main event. Bucko is definitely catching the 29. Next time by will be 7 laps. Not really the halfway mark, so there's plenty of time as Bucko Branham is 3 car lengths behind the 29 as they come out of 4. 7 down, 8 laps to go. Bucko Branham looks high. A couple of car lengths between him and Wheeler. Brett Wheeler drifts high to try to avoid Bucko passing him. Wheeler knows that if he doesn't finish in front, he won't continue. Halfway marker out. It is strictly a 2-car race at this point. Bucko Branham again looks underneath the 29, but nothing doing. The way Bucko caught Brett Wheeler, you can pretty much be assured that the car, the 29, is not handling correctly. Not because Bucko's not capable of catching Wheeler, but Wheeler is really all over the place, and I don't think it's all trying to buck Bucko past him. I think Brett is having trouble with that 29. Bucko looks to the inside. Wheeler ducks down. Bucko hits the binders. They come out of Fort Bucko right on his back bumper. 5 laps to go. One of these men will continue. The other one will load it up and go home. Unless, of course, they both take each other out, which will give the qualified position right now to the 96 of Fred Lagoy, who currently runs third. But third is a half a lap from this battle. It is Wheeler, followed by Bucko. What more can I say? Bucko had tried inside, he had tried outside. Brett has held him off every time so far. A car link separating the two. That time by Bucko looks inside, ducks his left tires off the track, sends up some dirt, but can't get the job done. For Brett Wheeler. If he can hold off Bucko in the number 63 for one more mile, he will continue the 100-lap main event here tonight a little later on. You can bet Bucko Branham has something in mind. You can bet he has got some sort of a move he's planning on the last lap. Let's see if it works. Bucko looks inside, but Brett Wheeler refuses to give the inside groove to him. One set of turns remaining. Bucko dives in deep, but not enough room. Bucko looks to the outside, and he loses traction, and Brett Wheeler will win it. Wheeler continues. Bucko Branham ends up as first alternate. Fred Lagoy, Dennis Alderman, Glenn Wright, and Storm and Norman Gay will round out the 6 cars that finish this 15-lap last chance qualifier. So Brett Wheeler has qualified as the last person to make it into the 100-lap main event a little bit later on here tonight at Airborne.
And some expert driving by the 29 of Brett Wheeler. Brett Wheeler is going to pass on the opportunity to come around. They are going to get themselves qualified, and it looks
20 laps and 22 automobiles make up the final Saturday night Flying Tiger main event of 1992. And starting on the front row, the 94 Brian Lockerbie, and the 79 of Ernie Holmes. Jim McComb, Lee Morrison make up row 2. Kevin Sorrell, Al Madden make up row 3. Hang on, fans, because Weston, Lamberton, and Wood are all in the back of the pack. Ernie Holmes gets a quick lead on Lockerbie, but they bump going into 1. As you take a look at the back of the pack, that's where you'll find the 18 of Brad Duque, who started scratch. Up front, Lockerbie and Holmes refuse to let each other take the top spot. Jim McCall, trouble, hang on, this could get tricky. They straighten it out, and look at the field come down the stretch. 3, 4 wide, trouble, Morrison is spotted, he is gonna get collected. I'm wrong, how did they miss the 48? Everybody should be standing up and giving these drivers a standing ovation. They missed the Lee Morrison 48, and he was sitting sideways in the racing groove. Oh my, are these guys super when there's a problem in front of them? These guys really know how to avoid it. Look at the Axford third on the inside, the 28 of Rock and Rock Klein on the outside, the 79 of Ernie Holmes. Klein picking up a feature win a few weeks ago here at Airborne. Would love to make it his second win here tonight. Good battle up front. Al Matt with a 27. Chet DeVerney Jr. with a 14. It was just a couple of weeks ago that Al Matt had 2/3 of a triple crown in his back pocket, but traffic prevented him from winning the main event. Tough break for Kevin Sorrell. Smokescreen. Trouble at 4, and Rob Weston is part of it. Rob Weston has collected somebody and pinched them up against the turn 4 wall. And his nearest competitor in the points, Robin Wood, is dragging a pipe. Ron Weston takes off, but Robin Wood may be black flagged as he is dragging a pipe. Sparks all over the back end of the 61. And as I speak of Robin, trouble in front of him. He avoids Eric Williams. Trouble out of 4, Mark Lamberton involved. He gets together with Dave Foster. And we have got cars scattered all over. Throw the caution and let's line them up again as we have got a mess in 3 different parts of the track to clean up. 5 down. It'll probably be 4 as we resort back to last lap completed. 4 down, 16 to go. And fans, I have no idea who's running where. We'll line them up and tell you when we get ready for the restart. Getting ready to resume the Flying Tiger main event. You know, we've been telling you Robin Wood is 50 points behind Ron Weston coming into tonight. What we should tell you is the guy leading this race, the 14 of Chet DeVarney Jr., is only 3 points behind Robin Wood in the standings. So Robin Wood, with hopes of taking over the lead, may end up leaving this track tonight 3rd in the points. Cars are really scampering about here. As that green came out, Mark Laverty got a great jump. He got about 2-3 cars before the stripe, and that 29 is hooked up. Cars coming out of 4. It is DeVarney, Madden, Richardson, Klein, Jans, and Hutchins, your top 6. Battle for 3rd, heating up with Ron Klein to the inside of the 66 of rookie Mike Richardson. But Ron has hit the binders as Al Madden is in his groove. Robin Wood just coming on the track. By my calculations, Robin Wood is now a lap down. We have trouble up in 4 as the caution comes out and David Gay goes backwards into the turn 4 wall. David Gay spun it around and hit the wall backwards, refired the car. That'll bring out a caution, allow Robin Wood to catch up, but I believe Robin is a lap down. So we'll line it up. Your top 5 of the points are kind of interesting here. Wes is your point leader. He's in the back of the pack. Robin Wood a lap down. Chet DeVarney Jr. is leading. Mark Lamberton, who is 5th in the points, is moving up in a hurry. And the guy who sits 4th in the points is Randy Yance. And Yance currently runs 4th, so it looks like a good night in the point standings for DeVarney, Yance, and the 29 of Lamberton. But Weston and Wood, that remains to be seen. Getting set to go back under green, 7 down, 13 remaining. Let's set the top 10. DeVarney and Madden in row 1, Richardson and Klein in row 2, Yance Hutchin occupy row 3, Lamberton and McComb in row 4, George White, Scott Foster round out the top 10 for a lap 7 restart. Further heartbreak for the 6-1 of Robin Wood. He pitted the last caution and is not yet able to make it back out to rejoin the field. Man on the move, no doubt about it. It is Mark Lamberton. Lamberton shuffled himself up to 5th. And the way that car's running, he may have the lead in about 2 laps. He is that quick right now. Chet DeVarney Jr. About 6 pilots over Richardson. 3-car battle for 3rd up in turn 1. Yance, Madden, and Lamberton. Another black flag coming. A lot of black flags tonight. Right now, Lamberton is disposed of Madden, but Al Madden tucked back under Lamberton. Al Madden sends Mark Lamberton spinning. Madden got to the inside. Lamberton trying for the same piece of real estate. And Al Madden comes back across. George Whitehead some. And then he is collected by Weston. Oh my, we have all kinds of problems. We'll have to line him up. Al Madden was going to get out of that in good shape until he came back across the track. Got hit by George White and Ron Weston. 9 down, probably be 8 if we go back to last lap converted, and we'll line them up and try it again. Well, we cleaned up the track, and there was quite a bit to clean up. 8 down, 12 to go. Front row, DeVarney Richardson. Second row, Yance and Lamberton, and they are let loose out of turn 4. Cars trying to sort themselves out. Up front, DeVarney takes the lead. Yance gets to the inside of Richardson while Mark Lamberton works the outside of the 66. Lamberton tucks down now. Richardson stuck in no man's land. That's called the outside groove. Better be careful up in turn 4. Still some speedy grind. You hook the wheel the wrong way in that stuff and you'll go into the wall in a hurry. Lamberton up to 3rd. Has to get by Yance and then race leader DeVarney. Halfway this time by with 10 down and 10 to go. again, the Robin Wood 61 machine sparking severely from an exhaust pipe of some sort, dragging. I thought they had the problem corrected. Obviously, they do not. The car's getting a little bit loose to take him out of the turn. Robin Wood giving the black flag that time. Officials do not want that pipe dragging anymore. They have given him the black, and he's going to have to be forced to pit it again. Meanwhile, the battle for second, Lamberton is on the right side of Yance. And as they come out of 4, he takes a shot for position 2. Meanwhile, a bit farther back of the pack here, a lot of cars jostling for position. Ron Weston has moved up to about 10th, but that's not going to do him any good if he doesn't get up any higher than that, even though he will keep the points lead. Caution on the flag, the 88 of Jeff Plunkett. Another local driver loops it up in 3 and 4. Quickly refires, turns it around. Let the caution wheel line him up, try it again with 12 down and 8 to go. "12 laps officially in the record books with 8 to go, and these Tigers are a lot rougher than we're used to seeing over the past couple months. Interesting, the cars 3rd, 4th, and 5th in the points are respectively running 1st, 2nd, and 3rd on the track, so the guys have the talent. Let's see if they can get it done. DeVarney and Yance lead them to the stripe. Tight pack headed through 1 and 2. They all maneuver. Lamberton has disposed of Yance and taken second. The only man between Mark Lamberton and the lead is Chet DeVarney Jr. Both Lamberton and DeVarney have tasted victory so far this year here at Airborne. Lamberton all over the back bumper, DeVarney. Chet looks in his mirror and it's going to have it full of 29. Randy Yance runs 3rd. Eldred Hutchins is running 4th with Dave Foster 5th. Great run for Eldred Hutchins as he has been in some battles. 3 wide out of 4. Everyone tries to make Jason Leo and Scott Foster hook bumpers but separate themselves. Now the battle for the lead. DeVarney stays in the middle of the track. Lamberton is forced high. Those guys will come out of turn 4 and see the chief starter give them the 5 lap to go sign. 5 laps to go, dead even at the stripe. If the race would have ended there, it would have been a photo finish, fans. Mark Lamberton powers in front, but Chet DeVarney with that inside groove refuses to let Mark have it easily. Meanwhile, Randy Yance sits 3rd, is waiting for both those guys to make a mistake. About 20 car lengths in front of the leaders is the 88 machine of Jeff Plunkett, so Plunkett could come into play. The guy he'll hurt is going to be DeVarney because he'll block DeVarney in. Lamberton is going to try to use the lap machine of Plunkett to block Lamberton, but Plunkett dives low and Lamberton will not be able to do a blocking move. Trouble, Plunkett and Yance come together. Randy Yance was running 3rd, gets together with Plunkett. They both refire, but Yance is back to about 7th now. Meanwhile, up in 4, the 79 of Ernie Holmes refires after taking an excursion off the track. 2 to go, and it's a 2-car battle. DeVarney and Lamberton. It is pick-up time. Will Mark get the job done, or will Chet hang on? Ron Weston right now, in case you wonder, the points leader, currently runs 7th. But everybody's looking at the front of the pack. Half a car length separating them that time by when they were greeted with a white flag. Last lap around, DeVarney gets loose, but Lamberton cannot capitalize. They dive into 3. Mark does not have a groove. He does not have the power, or does he? They come to the stripe. Give it to Chet DeVarney Jr. The way I saw it, at least maybe 6 inches. It was very close, but I believe Chet DeVarney Jr. edged out the 29 of Mark Lamberton. But those 2 drivers could have taken each other out, were very courteous, stayed out of each other's way, had a great shot to the stripe, but I'm almost sure that Chet DeVarney Jr. will be given this victory by about 6 inches over Mark Lamberton. 3rd was Eldred Hutchins, and Eldred Hutchins with a great job to finish 30. Didn't mention him a lot, but he got the job done. Once again, As you can see, Jet Navardi Jr. picks up the win. We are ready, willing, and able for 100 laps of late model Sportsman action. 100 laps on tap for the LMS division, the final Saturday night show of the year here at Airborne. 35 cars answer the call. Yeah, I know, fans. Throughout the program, we've been telling you 33. Well, promoter's option goes into effect as the president of the American Canadian Tour. I'm currently in attendance. He has added the 31 of Lance Furno and the 63 of Bucko Branham to the rear of the field. So 35 will start. Let's take a look at the field. Before I do that, you may notice the infield pits are being used tonight. As a matter of fact, if a car is to go to the normal pit area off of turn 2, that means they are out of the event. So the infield pits, a la American Canadian Tour races, will be in effect for this 100-lap LMS race. Taking a look at the field, starting on the pole in the green and yellow number 99, Roy French. Outside pole, the 64 of Robin Branham. In row 2, the 91 of Bill Found, and alongside the 17 of Lonnie Lackley. Row 3, to the inside, the 42 of Tony Poisson. On the outside, the 71 of Lester Armel Jr. Row 4, the 08 of Steve Minsky, and then the 57 of Jimmy Barton. Rounding out the top 10, the 75 of Pete Fecto, the 52 of Barry Schwartz. Then the 66 of Joe Chavez and the 13 of Richard Itzy make up row 6. Next row, the 92 of Chris Durkee and the 92 of Chris Durkee on the inside, and on the outside, the 49 of Mark Lamphere, the 10 of Ricky LaCure, the 46 of Doug Hoare, followed by the 86 of Dennis Demers and the 33 of Matt Sear. Then the 9 of Dan Bridget, the 1 of Red Mead, the 76 of Steve Renadette, followed by the 0 of Brent Dragon, the 25 of Dave Wickham, the 4, yeah, we know who it is finally, fans. Should have realized he had his car here, didn't see it on the track, he busted it in practice. The 4 of Stormin Norman Andrews, the 25 of Dave Wickham, points leader Dwayne Lamphere in the 40, the 45 of Brian Hoare, the 32 of Jean-Paul Cyr, the 00 of Steve Miller, rounding out the field, the 22 of Gary Caron, the 99 of Jacques Courchain, 29 Brett Wheeler, 79 Jim Mason, 31 Lance Furno, 63 Bucko Branham, and elected to start at the back of the pack, the 83 of Tim Martinka. Fans, we have one 100-lapper here earlier. It was Stormin Norman Gay leading Jim Silly and Bucko Branham to the stripe. Well, Stormin Norman Andrews won it. Norm Andrews starts in the number 4 tonight. Jim Silly broke in practice, not even in attendance, and Bucko Branham at the back of the pack. So we could have an entirely different threesome when this 100 laps is said and done. Getting ready, should get the green next time around. The chief starter likes the way they look. Remember, Roy French and Robin Branham set the pace. Couple of 99s in this field. The 99 of Roy French, and this car here, the 9, actually they're going to make it the 89. It is normally 99 for the future because they're in there. It's going to be the 89. That Jacques Courchain. Of course, Courchain looks like he's in trouble early. French and Robin Branham lead them out of turn 4, and we are underway. Four cars take the green, and Jacques Courchain pitted in the exit pit, so that means he's out of it. A big pileup up in turn 3, 3-4 wide, car sliding all over. Matt Sear looped it around, and Edwin has avoided him somewhat. Don't know if caution will come out. This is a timed race. Caution will count. Looking at the front of the pack, Wild Bill Foundman jumped out to the lead. Tony Poisson runs second. Lonnie Lackley sits third. Robin Branham inducting the 4th. Olsen and Roy French runs 5th. With Minsky in the Pete Fecto, Lester Armel, Joe Thomas, and Jim Barton rounding out the top 10 with 2 down. Remember, Fall Foliage Weekend, this division will run their already qualified J&J Discount International Series event on Saturday, and an entirely different feature on their own to decide the point championship on Sunday. Action in the middle of the pack includes Fecto, French, Thomas, Mitten, Armel, Martin, Bootsy. A lot of action. 3 wide coming out of 4. Usually this doesn't work, but these guys know they have a long ways to go. And they're being very cautious. Barry Schwartz is detouring. The 52 takes a detour, gets back in the racing groove and loses the back end. Barry Schwartz loops it around as he lost traction when he got back from the dirt to the asphalt. Caution flag is being held, but was not displayed. No caution on the speedway. And Barry Schwartz is going to go a lap down early on. It is still Wild Bill Fountain leading the way, with Tony Points on Lonnie Lackley running second and third. Bill Fountain, be somebody if he could win this. Bill, of course, long-time runner here at Airborne. It's nice to see Bill pick up a feature win in this race. Trouble up in 3. Chris Durkee has dumped Roy French. No doubt about that one. Roy French out position, and Durkee went right up into the side of him. And that has caused a mess behind him. We have a couple of the cars involved. One of them, points leader, Dwayne Lanphier. Remember, starting tonight, Dwayne Lanphier only had a 14-point lead over the 00 of Steve Miller. Dwayne Lanphier is going to have to pit as his right rear tire has been flattened. We have a caution with 8 down. We'll probably resort back to 7. Either way, many laps to go with Bill Fountain leading the pack early on. Yes, fans, I realized when we went to the yellow, I said we probably would resort back to lap 7. Yes, I realize yellow laps count, just a slight oversight. We rejoin this race with Bill Fountain and Lonnie Lackley send the pace with 13 laps in the record books, which means we have 87 to go. Dwayne Lanphier did not lose a lap, but Roy French has been in for about 2 or 3 laps now. Roy French is down a few laps. Action up front. Hey, look at Joe Thomas with the runway 66. Look under Robin Branham with the battle for 3rd. Bill Fountain leads it. Robin Branham, Lonnie Lackley come together. Lonnie loses it. Robin corrects it. Lonnie Lackley is quite a distance off the racing surface. Another car involved, the Ford of Storm and Norman Andrews. Doesn't look like Norman win his second 100 lapper this year. Not fair to see him driving a car he's not used to, however. It is still Wild Bill over Robin Branham and Joe Thomas. The car moving up to weight number 9 of Dan Bridges. You have to kind of give him a thought to win this. With all the experience he has, he knows how to pace himself. He's had a feature win here at Airborne already. Regular runner at Thunder Road, so he's had a lot of racing this year. And Dan Bridges may just be someone who can pull off the victory. Three wide coming out of 4, and I don't know where Steve Reddit Dan Bridges is going with the number 9. He lost all sorts of track position. Trouble! Tim Patinka comes in contact with Steve Reddit. Barry Schwartz loses it behind them. Patinka continues. Schwartz is off of the racing group, but only by about a car length. We have 19 laps down. 19 laps down. Patinka goes a lap down to the field. Patinka elected to start the rear of the pack when his car was not up to snuff. Action up front, the battle for the lead. Bill Fountain and Joe Thomas. 2 New York drivers that the fans would love to see pick up a win. Joe Thomas, tough year as he looks like he could have won a couple, just never seems to get there. The other racing gremlins creep up. Right behind the 2 New Yorkers, yeah, you always watch out for the 86 of Dennis Demers. We have an unusual situation in the pits. We have someone turning on a light in the pits, the infield pits. And that's going to be a problem as caution flag has come out. The yellow flag has come out, and I believe this could be because of the situation in the pits. There are no cars off the track, although Lance Furno has stopped at the pit entrance, but there's a light on in the pits. And that is definitely distracting as the cars come up to the stripe. We have 22 laps down. The laps will count. We'll line them up and restart them again.
At the entrance to the pit gate, you cannot leave them sitting there. They will pick up the Lance Furno car. A tremendous dive.
We are ready to resume action with 26 laps in the record book and 74 to go. It is Bill Found and Joe Thomas sitting in the front row with Dennis Demers, Richie Bootsy behind him, Tony Poisson, Mark Lamberton, Chris Durkee, Brent Dragon, Jim Barton, and the 25 of Dave Wickham round out the top 10. Another retiree to the exit pits, the 31 of Lance Berno is officially done for the night. Cars storm into the first turn. Tim Patinka several laps down, just rejoining the field. Meanwhile, up front, Joe Thomas is driving high, trying to get past Bill Found, and Dennis Demers sticks under the 66. And Dennis Demers has position on Thomas. Dennis Demers disposed of Thomas. Can't get by Billy, though, as Found shuts the door. That allowed Thomas to drop back up a bit. Joe Thomas goes to the high groove again. Five very good drivers running in the top 5 spots. Fountain, Thomas, Demers, Bootsy, and Mark Lamphere. The guys right behind him are no slouches. Brent Dragon and Dave Wickham. They come out of fourth. Joe Thomas gets a great fight that time. Very close at the line. All you Red Mead fans, tough break as the one of Red Mead pitting right now under green. Surely go down a lap or two. Once again, infield pits in use for this 100-lap race. If you go to the normal pits off of turn 2, you are officially done for the evening. Billy Found has run a great race as we come up near the 1/3 mark. Dennis Demers is the man chasing him in second. Mark Lamphere has slipped through for third. Joe Thomas back to fourth, and Wickham and Bootsy battling for the 5th spot. Dennis Demers on the outside takes a lead from Wild Bill. Demers takes a lead and gets a little distance between himself and the field. Fountain back to second. Mark Lamphere on Fountain's back bumper. Wondering where the top 5 drivers in the point standings are. Dwayne Lamphere, your points leader, is running about 18. Steve Miller, who runs second, is only a couple of cars in front of him. Brian Hoare, who is third in the standings, is behind Lamphere. Dave Wickham is fourth in the standings. He's up near the 6th or 7th spot. And last week's winner, Jean-Paul Cyr, who is 5th in the standings, is about 10th. Look at the action coming out of four with Demers leading it and getting some distance. Lamphere gets by Fountain for second. Bootsy is now fourth. Trouble, Bill Found gets a piece of Mark Lamphere. Brent Dragon involved as he goes high. Fountain has continued, Lamphere has continued. Brent Dragon has spun out. Chris Durkee took evasive action. And a very quick caution with 35 laps now, 36, when the leader, Dennis Demers, comes across the stripe the next time. 40 laps in the record books as we get ready to resume this race with Dennis Demers and Richard Bootsy, the 2 men to set them on their way. Tough break for Joe Thomas. Those racing gremlins I spoke of a few minutes ago, on that last caution, the back end of the 66 erupted in smoke. He is still in the pits. Don't know if it was a transmission, an engine, or what happened. Demers and Bootsy lead up to the stripe, and Richard Bootsy just a great fight. Richard Bootsy got a great start, but Dennis Demers pulled back ahead. Cars that are officially out of this by pulling to the pits, exit pits in turn 2 or behind the wall. Well, forget it, we got trouble up in 3 and 4. Doug Hoare, Jim Barton, Richard Bootsy, all involved, cars scurrying. Those are the only 3 automobiles I saw. Bubba, hey, the 40 of Dwayne Lamphere came in contact with someone. Heavy duty smoke, but I think it's just tire smoke, probably rubbing. Also, which happened off of turn 2, the 83 of Tim Patinka had a front end go down on him. He wants to go to the pits, but the pits are closed. We have an open pit, closed pit system here for this race, and the pits are closed. Real quick, concluding some of the cars officially out of the race. Jacques Kershane, Lance Furno, Pete Fecto, Red Mead, the 79 of Jim Mason. We don't know about the 66 of Joe Thomas. And this doesn't look good for Dwayne Lamphere, though, like I say, it could just be tire smoke. We'll take a quick break and come back with a restart. 35 laps in the record book. Quick out there in the top 5 of the point standing. Jean-Paul Cyr sits 8th. Dave Wickham is in the back of the pack after making a pit stop. Brian Hoare near the middle of the pack. Steve Miller is moving up. He is about 9th. And Dwayne Lanphier, fans, is out of it. He has pitted the automobile. The smoke you saw was severe enough to drop him out of it. Tony Poisson, Dennis DeMere led him to the stripe. 46 laps down with 54 to go. Look at the action up front. DeMere takes the lead from Poisson. It is Dan Bridges working over Bill Bowden. Gets Bowden high. That allows a 22 of Gary Caron to tuck under Bill. The man running 6th, the 32 of Jean-Paul Cyr, last week's feature winner. His first ever win in this division. Looking to double it up. Boy, this would be a great one to win. But look at this, and that outside Jean-Paul, the double zero of Steve Miller and Fez, I can assure you, unless Miller drops out very soon, he should have the points lead leading tonight. Jean-Paul Cyr gets to the inside of the 22 of Gary Caron. That is a battle for 5th. Trying to follow Jean-Paul through the double zero of Steve Miller. Lemieux still leads, but the man catcher is a 9 of Danny Bridges. This time by 50 down and 50 to go. Halfway. With a milk bowl tomorrow and the late model Sportsman, in addition to the Tigers and Stocks having to run their own event, some of these cars may have to be worked on all night to make it. Trouble up at 4. Gary Caron ducks his tires off the gravel but gets it back on. In the battle for the lead, Dan Bridges is close with the 2 maybe 3 car lengths of leader Dennis Demers. Demers and Bridges, a straightaway in front of Jean-Paul Cyr and Tony Poisson. Dennis Demers had a nice little touch, but he disappeared in a hurry, and he realizes that Dan Bridges has caught him. But can Danny pass the 86? That is the question. He has a lot of time to do it. 91 and Bill Powell still running 5th. Bill still having a good race. That's some trouble in the front stretch. Minsky Midden came down on Ricky LaCure. Ricky hard into the outside retaining wall right at the stripe. Ricky hit it at an angle. I do not imagine there'll be any kind of physical damage. Boy, I bet you he took a deep breath and held on tight. Once again, Minsky Midden was loose coming out of 4th. Came down, hit the back end of Ricky, and Ricky right hard into the outside retaining wall.
Model
60 laps down with 40 to go. We started 35 machines. We are down to 25. The most recent retiree, the 10 of Ricky LaCure, who hit the front stretch wall real hard. He'll probably feel that one in the morning. Dennis DeMere, Dan Bridges, the 2 gentlemen, have set them on their way as they come out of 4, and the green flag is indeed flying. Danny Bridges wastes no time in getting the lead. Bridges quickly to lead, but drifts high. DeMere's backside, and Bridges holds the line. Danny will take the lead and hold the line. DeMere's back to 2nd. Last week's feature winner, Jean-Paul Cyr, running 3rd. While Bill is 5th, and Steve Miller is working his way up to 5th. Once again, Bridges, DeMere, Jean-Paul Cyr, Bowden, and Miller, your top 5. Jean-Paul Cyr sitting right behind the number 86. Bridges gets loose. DeMere tucks under him. They have contact coming out of 4. DeMere takes the lead. Bridges cuts in front of Jean-Paul to hold down the 2nd spot. And as the leaders head into 3, a caution is flying. You're going to see why. Barry Schwartz looped the 52, quickly refired it, got it out of the way of the leaders. Well, the caution has come out with, well, as they cross the stripe, 65 laps now with 35 to go. This should be a very short caution, however. Your top 5 will be Demers, Bridges, Jean-Paul Cyr, Miller, and Wild Bill. What we thought would be a short caution turned into quite an extensive caution. As you can see, the RC and Suntotric had to go way, 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 way back there to get a hold of a car. Turns out to be the 64 of Robin Branham, and Robin Branham must have been watching Ron Klein a couple of weeks ago when Klein went off for turn 3 and I say he needed a cap to get back. Robin Branham really planted that thing. We have 70 laps in the books the next time the leaders come across the stripes. It will be Dennis Demers and Danny Bridges in the top row. Some of the cars that have already fell out of this 100-lap main event: Jacques Couchane, Steve Mitten, Pete Fecto, points leader Dwayne Lamphere, Red Mead, Ricky LaCure. There's Roy Frencher. Several automobiles have already dropped out. Tough break for Dwayne Lamphere, your points leader, because he really needed a good finish going into the fall foliage weekend. They are showing them the clinch green. They should be green flag racing next time around. 70 laps in the books, only 30 laps remaining. This could be pick'em time. Your front row, Dennis Demers and Dan Bridges. Row 2, Jean-Paul Cyr and Steve Miller. Row 3, Wild Bill Fountain, Gary Caron. Row 4, Tony Poisson and Brent Dragon. Row 5, the 4 of Storm and Norman Andrews and Rich Abuzzi to round out the top 10. Any of those guys could pull into victory lane when this is all said and done. Demers and Bridges rev them up a little bit as they lead about a 4 to look over the green. They do indeed receive it, and we are off and racing with 71 in the books. We have 8 more of these cautions. We may be wishing you a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's before we leave here. It's been a long night. Thank God cautions count tonight. Danny Bridges dirt tracking it through 4, letting it all hang out. Didn't work for him that time. Demers, your leader, Jean-Paul Cyr moved up to 2nd. Wild Bill had tucked under the 9 of Bridges in the battle for 3rd. Steve Miller, with no room whatsoever, has to wait for either Fountain or Bridges to give him a gap. Bridges way, 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 way high. Fountain gets under Miller, not able to follow through as Fountain kind of lost a little pounder. Bridges was able to drive right alongside again. Now Bridges pulls up next to and passes Wild Bill, but Bill not about ready to give it up. And again, Danny goes high in the 4th turn. All over the back bumper of race leader Dennis Demers. This battle for 3rd between the 91 of Fountain, the 9 of Bridges, the 00 Miller, and now the 22 of Gary Caron is really getting interesting, fans. 3/4 away there, 75 down, hopefully 25 to go. And Danny Bridges, his handling is definitely going away in the 9 machine. He can't keep the car on the inside groove when he goes through the turns at all. Up front it is still Demers and Jean-Paul Cyr. These 2 leaders separated from the 3rd place car, Danny Bridges, by about maybe 15 car lengths. As the field comes out of 4, a lot of cars racing very, very close. There are several competitors who have not made their way to the pits and several who have, so maybe tires may come into play the way these guys have to drive hard into the turns. Dennis Demers has opened up about a 6-car length lead over the 2nd place car, the Realty World 32 of Jean-Paul Cyr. Bridges runs 3rd, Miller 4th, Wild Bill Fountain maybe 5th. He's got Red Dragon waiting all over him. Buckle Branham tagging turn 4 wall. Good shot from 39 of Brent Wheeler. Wheeler not on tonight at all. Was lucky to win the last chance qualifier over Bucko. Well, I tell you that one of Red Mead was out of it. He was pushed behind the wall. The Red has come back on the track, but needless to say, he has many, many, many laps down. Also making a reappearance, the 83 of Tim Patinka. Patinka even more laps down, I believe. We are within the final 20 laps. It is still almost anyone's race. You got to think we'll have at least one more caution, and Dennis Demers' lead will quickly evaporate on a restart. Demers has a 20-car length lead over Jean-Paul Cyr. Cyr has maybe 10 on Danny Bridges, with Steve Miller breathing all over his back bumper. Red Dragon running fifth, another 10 cars behind Miller. Dave Wickham is bleeding on Bill Fountain as they come out of turn 2. Now Wickham ducks under Fountain. Bootsy's looking at the high side of 91, but Dave Wickham and Bill Fountain were really exchanging some metal there out of turn 2 last lap. Some cars running way back in the pack here. As a matter of fact, the leader, Dennis Demers, is only about a quarter left behind some of these guys. And where you look now, Dennis Demers is putting some laps on guys like Mike Miller, Lester Arbell, and maybe a Brett Wheeler before too long. Chief Starter really has to use that passing flag, the blue and yellow straight flag, as the leader. Dennis Demers is really winding in some lap traffic in a hurry. At least half a dozen cars separating the two leaders. And Dwayne Lampier has fixed his car that was smoking very heavily. Dwayne Lampier, who we were told was out of it, has refired the machine. In the battle for second, it is Jean-Paul Cyr in the 32, Dan Bridges in the 9, and Steve Miller in the 00. Some other automobiles are bad traffic. So though Dwayne Lampier has fired the machine, I'm almost sure that Steve Miller will still take over the points lead. Trouble, Jean-Paul Cyr, Danny Bridges come together. Jean-Paul loops and he is avoided by everybody. A red light in the car, he has stalled the engine in the 32. Should be able to refire it hopefully, but Jean-Paul Cyr was running second, gets together with a 9 of Danny Bridges and does not look like he'll make it 2 in a row tonight. Set the field as best we can with only 7 laps to go. Dennis Demers is your leader. The man outside, the white 71, Lester Arbell Jr., is lap. The 00 Steve Miller runs second. The 0 of Brett Dragon is third. Dwayne Lampier is 40th lap. Fourth belongs to the 22 of Gary Caron, and fifth to the 25 of Dave Wickham. A decision was made that was not the most popular. That means that the number 9 of Dan Bridges was thrown to the back of the pack on a rough riding call, and the incident was Jean-Paul Cyr. So that's why Danny is no longer up near the front. 5 laps to go. It looks like it will be a 3-car shootout. Dennis Demers, Steve Miller, and Brett Dragon. Trouble in 2, hang on, fans. Steve Miller has come together heavy with the 13 of Richard Bootsy, and everybody avoided him. No caution on the track. But I will guarantee you, there is fluid and or sheet metal up there, as there were sparks flying all over the place. No caution. Brett Dragon slips under Steve Miller, takes second away. Brett Dragon only has the 86 of Dennis Demers for the lead. Brett Dragon has come out of nowhere. He may have been saving something. 3 laps ago, and Jean-Paul Cyr has cooked an engine. Severe trouble. Jean-Paul Cyr cooks an engine, fluid all over the front stretch. Doug Hoare gets into it. Jean-Paul Cyr blows the engine with less than 2 miles to go. Quickly pulls to the pit, and we have a 3-lap shootout, fans. Demers, Dragon, and Miller. A 3-lap dash for cash shootout to end it all. Dennis Demers, Brent Dragon in the front row. Steve Miller starts inside row 2. Those apparently are the 3 cars that will go the 3 laps for the win. Demers has won 1. Miller has won 3 times this year. Brent Dragon has not had a feature win yet, but could tonight be the night? Brent Dragon slips ahead of the 86 of the line, but Dennis Demers hangs up. Miller gets under Dragon, and now Dragon has both of the guys to contend with. Fourth is a 22 of Gary Caron. Fifth belongs to the 91 of Wild Bill Fountain, but Mark Lampier gets Fountain a shove to take over the 5th spot. 2 to go. 2 laps to go. Will it be Demers, will it be Miller, or will it be Dragon? Remember, on the track. The number 40 is just about 40 laps down to match his car number. I don't have that official, but he was in the pits an awful long time. Last time around for the late models on a Saturday night show. Dennis Demers has to hold off Steve Miller. Miller himself battling Red Dragon to hold him off. 99 down, 1 lap to go. Actually a quarter of a lap as they come out of 4. Congratulations to Dennis Demers, his second feature win of the year. Dan Bridges clambers the wall as he crosses the stripe. Well, that was an exciting one, fans. Couple of interesting moves, but some guys up near the front, other guys dropping out, losing laps. A couple of heartbreaks for guys who were running well that didn't finish or finished farther back. They looked like they would, like Jean-Paul Cyr. But your top 3, we can tell you, Dennis Demers wins it. Steve Miller crosses the line second with Brent Dragon hauling in the 3rd spot. Pretty sure Gary Caron will be 4th, and perhaps Mark Lanfear rounded out the top 5th. Don't hold me to that. Of course, these guys have to go through tech, but it certainly looks like Dennis Demers picked up his second feature win of the year on a rather impressive night. We have a special 3-lap event on tap. Now let me explain what's going on here before we run our street stock feature. The 91 Banana Barge of Greg Paye, the 74 of Dan Benoit. If you go to Thunder Road or come here to Airborne, these two guys tend to bang on each other constantly. Well, we've got a deal for them. They will be given 3 laps, a 3-lap race. They can knock the living you-know-what out of each other. They can hit each other. They can do anything they want for these 3 laps. But then they're going to go to the back of the pack for the feature. Should they touch each other at any other point this season, either the feature tonight or at Thunder Road or the fall foliage, the driver responsible will be given a 1-year suspension. Danny Benoit spins it around in turn 3. I don't know if a head-on collision was supposed to be part of this, but Benoit is going the wrong way. Greg Paye sees him. Fans, this could get interesting. They miss. Benoit having a spin. They haven't touched each other. You give these guys a regular race and they knock the living tar out of each other. You give them a chance for 3 laps, they haven't even come close yet. Well, there's a half a lap separate. Now, someone's got to stop or do something. Once again, Greg Paye, Dan Benoit, they have a bit of a grudge. They love to hit each other when they're racing. They've been given a chance and they won't hit each other. But if they hit each other in the feature tonight or at any other time for the remainder of this season, the driver responsible is given a 1-year suspension. It's over, fans. It is absolutely over. They never touched. I have no idea what's going on. They never touched. Remember, if they do touch in the feature tonight, the driver responsible will not be racing next year. We're going to line up the Napa Legends Street Stock event, the final event for 1992 on a regular Saturday night show. It's going to be strange not being here on Saturday nights. Somehow fitting, though, to send the 92 Saturday night season off with a bang with the street stocks, because these guys truly do get wild out there. Lining them up. Starting on the pole, the 55 of Bob Bailey, and on the outside, the 75 of Sparky LePan. Row 2 to the inside, the 88 of Charles McNulty. On the outside, the 31. We got the mic fixed here. We'll rejoin the pack. The 69 of Ed Drake, the 2 of Mark Brusso make up row 3. In row 4, the 72 of Robert Haynes, the 23 of Chris Ides. The field still has to line up a bit. 71 of Mark Eddy, the 01 of Rob Clark Jr., the 95 of Paul Schnabel. 82, Toby Ebersol. 17, Joe Rotella. 74, Dan Benoit. Dan, you got to be in the back of the pack, buddy. 63 of Don Moran, 53 of points leader Dave Rotella. The 6 of Tyson Drown, only 3 points behind David. The 49 of Mike Boucher, and the 91 Banana Barge of Greg Paye. Well, you know, Dan Benoit and Greg Paye had their chance. Now if they touch each other, they won't be racing next year. But you wonder, maybe one of these guys isn't planning on racing next year. 15 laps of scheduled distance. We have 19 Napa Legends Street Stocks to answer the call for the final Saturday night show of the year. But make sure you come on Fall Foliage Weekend, September 26th and 27th, because in addition to the Legends Street Stocks, that is, the Tigers and the late model Sportsman, the Cars and Stars of the American Canadian Tour have 300 laps facing them. Once again, Bob Bailey and Chris Ida make up the front row.
Good field on Napa Legends Street. Final race of the evening. I just love the way. Remember the old days when we first started? You're supposed to get up and go home when this thing started. Not anymore. These guys.
The field bunches together. They are anticipating the green. Green flag is flying, and we are off and racing the final event of the Saturday night season. 3 wide out of 1. Everybody letting it all hang loose. Chris Ida gets the lead. Trouble up in 3. Robert Haynes gets loose, corrects it, but we got a big problem. Paul Schnabel comes across the track, gets T-boned. Heavy duty T-bone. And somehow it's fitting. The only cars not to touch were Dan Benoit and Greg Payet. Yellow flag on the track. We got a car parked up into the turn 4 wall. Yellow flag of the speedway. We will line them up as Mark Brusso gets off the turn 4 wall. Tough break for the 49 and Mike Bouchers. He heads to the pits. Doesn't look like he will end his season on a winning note. We'll take a quick break and be back with a conclusion with 1 lap down. With 1 lap down and 14 to go, Sparky LePan and Bob Bailey will be the 2 gentlemen to set them on their way. Once again, want to mention, if you plan on going to Thompson, Connecticut for the doubleheader Dirt Modified ACT show October 18th, that was rescheduled from August, they won't be racing. It's been pushed forward to October 11th. I know a lot of fans were planning that, so it's October 11th, the new date. And of course, the Cars and Stars of the American Canadian Tour will be in Oxford on October 4th. LePan and Bailey lead up to the stripe. Mike Boucher gets back out, so he never did lose a lap. 3 wide action. Of course, a lot of these guys have 3 weeks to fix their cars. They don't plan to race it again until fall foliage here at Airborne. So they may let it all hang out a little bit. In the points battle, Dave Rotella's 53 runs about 8th. Tyson Drow's number 6 is about 5 cars back from him. A lot of guys trying some unusual maneuver. Don't know if it's because they're late in the season or what. As they come out of 4 this time, the 75 of Sparky LePan is shown as your race leader. The 31 of Doug Shepard may be smoking, but he's catching the leader. Doug Shepard reeling him in. Ed Drake's in the number 69 sits 3rd. Whoa! Tyson Drow, Toby Eversole come together and straighten them out. Black flag on the speedway for Mike Boucher, so apparently Mike is going to lose a lap or 2. Doug Shepard has caught race leader LePan, but has not been able to get past him yet. Ed Drake runs 3rd, Rob Clark Jr. 4th, Robert Haynes 5th. Hey, the man on the move, the purple 72 machine, or 74 machine that is. That, of course, Danny Benoit. Of course, Danny has a car that's intact because him and Greg Payne never touched each other in their little match race. In the battle for the lead, LePan got loose. Shepard looked underneath, but LePan shut the door in a hurry. Last week, Steve Benoit in his red and white number 14 apparently finished 2nd, but was DQ'd for an oversized incident in the tech area. He has not returned tonight. Oh boy, trouble out of 4. Tyson Drown and Bob Bailey have all kinds of trouble as they finally separate themselves. That looked like Tyson Drown could have went for a wild ride. He was lucky that trouble! Up in 3, Doug Shepard takes out the leader. Shepard simply drove Sparky LePan, and that gave Rob Clark Jr. the lead. Sparky LePan went into the turn, and Doug Shepard simply nailed him. Resetting the top 5, Clark, Shepard, then a good ways back in the battle for 3rd between Drake, Haynes, and Dave Rotella. Halfway this time by 8 down and only 7 to go. And second time tonight, Doug Shepard in the 31, albeit running second right now, has been given the black flag for rough riding. So realigning the field is Rob Clark Jr. leader. The car third on the track, the black 72 of Robert Haynes is officially second. Ed Drake third, Dave Rotella fourth, and Mark Eddy fifth. Boy, Doug Shepard, twice now he got nailed for rough riding. Maybe we should have entered him in that little race between Benoit and Paye. Rob Clark Jr. has maybe a 12-car length lead. It looks like he's taking it easy right now, and probably isn't any reason not to. 5 laps to go this time by for Rob. Haynes runs second, Dave Rotella third, Greg fourth, and Eddie fifth. Looking a little bit farther back, Toby Ebersol sixth, followed by Dan Benoit, Tyson Drown, Don Moran, and Greg Paye to round out the top 10. Shepard went in and came back out. So apparently he has been given the word, although this late in the season, what good is that really? But he did lose a lap. Battle for second heating up as Dave Rotella on the back bumper, the 72 of Robert Haynes. Trouble for the battle for fourth and fifth. Mark Eddy and Ed Drake come together. Drake is sent spinning. Ed Drake has not moved the 69. Now he does when he sees there will be no caution thrown for him. Clark, your leader. Dave Rotella second. Robert Haynes third. I have no idea where the number 2 of Mark Russo's going. Not the preferred group at all, Mark. 2 to go for Rob Clark Jr. And again, Doug Shepard is all over the track, gathers to back up. Could be some handling problems on the 31 because he really does look like he's getting loose. May not totally be Doug's fault. White flag is out. The final lap of the regular 92 season is underway with Rob Clark Jr. leading Dave Rotella by about 6 car lengths. Rotella maybe 9 car lengths over Haynes. Well, it appears that Clark may win this, but don't count your chickens before they hatch. Dave Rotella has reeled him in, but he just needed another lap or two. Rotella will have to settle for second if Rob Clark Jr. picks up the win. Dave Rotella second, that'll help his points lead. Robert Haynes third. Toby Ebersol will end up fourth. And a real good battle. I believe Mark Eddy may have been fifth, but that was kind of close. Well, that wraps up the 92 season, but there's still nothing really settled as far as points battles go. The Front Foliage 300 will determine the point champs in all 3 divisions.
We will send him out on a victory parade. Rob Clark.
Well, I'm afraid, fans, that will wrap up the 92 regular season here at Airborne. The only thing left to be run, the Fall Foliage 300. A little bit later this month, September 26th and 27th. Remember, all 3 point battles in our regular 3 divisions yet to be settled. Good chance to congratulate once again our winners tonight. Chet DeVarney Jr. by not much more than a bumper, as he picked up his second or third win, I guess, of the season in the Flying Tiger division. Dennis Demers with a great run in the 100-lap late model Sportsman event for his second win of the season here at Airborne. And in the Napa Legends Street Stocks, Rob Clark Jr. holding off a hard-charging Dave Rotella. It was a good one. Dave Rotella needed a couple of more laps, though, to reel in and pass the 01 of Clark. Well, gonna feel kind of sad when Saturday rolls around because we're not gonna be here. For Rick Knowles, Greg Zindler, and everyone else associated with MotorSports Magazine, we will be back for the Fall Foliage 300. Don't worry about that, fans, but we're gonna have to sign off for now as the regular season has come to a conclusion. We're all looking forward to September 26th and 27th.